Hello, everybody out there in YouTube. We are the Middle Age Guys, and we are going to continue through our weekly or our continued reviews of the Young Justice episodes. This particular video, we're going to be covering Season 1, Episode 15, entitled Humanity. Let me get the introductions out of the way. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
And I'm Grey Mouse 1.
Like I said just 2 seconds ago, this particular episode is called Humanity. It was originally aired out in October 21st, 2011. Like usual, no spoiler warnings here, but we are going to go through a short synopsis and cover the usual 3 talking points: what we liked, what we didn't like, and what we noticed acts as a setup for another episode or storyline that's coming in the future. And without further ado, let me go ahead and just get through this one really quick. The episode opens up with Professor Tio Morrow telling a story. It turns out that we see where Red Tornado is. He's surrounded by his other siblings and his father. And his father is explaining to him, okay, this is what happened when I tried to go ahead and create these androids or these robots to go ahead and infiltrate the Justice Society of America, the precursors of the Justice League. Fast forward back over to the team at Mount Justice and everything. Zatara is entering the cave, and he's bringing with him his young daughter, Zatanna. Introduces them to the team, and they pretty much all hang out for the day. What happens is that the team goes ahead, they pretty much kidnap Zatanna to go ahead and run off and find out where Red Tornado is finally. According to them, they need to go ahead and instead of trying to figure out the orderly path to find where Red Tornado is at, they need an off-the-wall idea. And following that off-the-wall idea, they go ahead and they ask Professor Ivo, who's imprisoned in Bel Rev, about where Professor Tio Morrow is at, where his whereabouts are at. Because in the Kid Flash's words, he's your first competition in the deadly evil robot game. You have to be the guy keeping tabs on him. Well, they get the information out of him, and they find out that he is, let's see here, what is it? What park? Yellowstone, Utah, right? He's hiding out in Yellowstone, and basically they go ahead and they track him down, but not before Dr. Tio Morrow is able to go ahead and download all the memories from Red Tornado and basically take all the information from Red Tornado and his other siblings and then download them into a brand new robot, their younger brother, Red Volcano. Turns out that Dr. Tio Morrow, he didn't have very happy plans for the Earth. His plan was to go ahead and set off a super volcano that's pretty much stands dormant in Yellowstone Park, black out the sky, and bring about the end of humanity as it is. Red Volcano is equipped, and he has the abilities to actually do that. So when the team actually arrives and everything, after facing off with Red Tornado for a little bit, they then face off with Red Volcano, and then, after some struggles back and forth, they finally stop him, free Red Tornado, and actually bring him out. They're actually able to go ahead and bring him back to the Mount Justice with him, in which case he sits down and explains why things happened the way things did at the end of the Homefront episode. Why he left and everything else. And that's pretty much where the episode ends off, with a little bit of a laugh with Zatara pretty much saying that he's going to ground his daughter for life, and Captain Marvel walking in with Wolf after waiting for the kids to come out and actually play with him for the last 20-30 minutes or so. Actually, the last few hours. And that's pretty much how that one went through. I want to keep it really short because the thing is there's a lot that happened in the episode. But now that we've got the synopsis out of the way, let's go ahead and touch on our first talking point. Guys, what did you like about the episode? Floor is open.
Zatanna. Man, for her to be introduced and to be added to the team, and she was quite vital to the team.
Yeah.
Even to finding the location of Tio Morrow. It was very cool the way she was interacting with the team and everything else. And you can really see that, of course, they're still adding on individuals. They're not done yet as far as introducing people, adding them on, developing chemistry, and the team actually still working off its rough edges and actually working as a team. So I like Zatanna being a part of the team. Well, that's one of the things I like, I should say. Gray Mouse, what about you?
I like the fact that the robot family, Red Tornado family, that was in the background that they provided in this episode.
Was there anything else you wanted to add on to that one, Gray Mouse?
Not without kind of overlapping everybody. So
okay. Well, I'm pretty sure that we're going to probably talk about a few other things when we go over the rest of the points. One of the things that I liked right off the bat, and this is one of the things that stuck with me ever since the first time I've watched this episode, is that if you thought Wally West, Kid Flash, was the fastest kid on Earth, you have not seen how fast Robin makes an appearance when Zatanna is first introduced to everybody. He literally swoops in from nowhere. Hi, I'm Robin. It is just like sprung completely. All right.
I was not one to be the one to point that out.
It's just funny as funny as crap, because the thing is, like I said, he's obviously Wally West is the fastest guy when it comes to this thing, and the truth of the matter is that if you know, especially about the comic book background of Dick Grayson as a character in DC Comics, he's pretty much DC Comics' equivalent when it comes to social relationships to Matt Murdock, Daredevil in Marvel. Okay, in other words, he gets laid a lot. Okay, so that was one thing that I liked. Other than that, and that's not to say that Wally didn't have any good points. Again, second episode where he's in full action and he didn't trip and fall on his ass. That has to be mentioned. Okay, because we harped on that for like 9 episodes straight. All right.
At least, and one of the things is that they this really continue with it, it being episodic with mentioning Tornado. Oh yeah, we didn't forget Tornado and his siblings, and then Wally's still having a cast on his fucking right arm because of the last episode. Yeah, he broke that shit during the fight with the Injustice League. So I like the way that they actually continued that over. That was,
And since you've already you said your piece, I like the fact that Zatanna was kind of like, are you guys having a psychic conversation? I like that. I was like, because they were. And it was obvious. I mean, they were doing the motions like, but nothing was coming out of anybody's mouth. And she was like, I think she felt kind of like off-putting a little bit. That's weird. You got a group of 6 people, that's freaking talking, that's communicating, and they have gestures and nothing's coming out of their mouths. And then it was really funny that she mentioned that. She's like, it's almost like you guys are weird.
I'd have to say that, like, probably the best thing that I liked about this episode, besides those things that really stuck out to me, is that all in all, this particular episode is a good wrap up and a tie up episode that really followed up on open, like, things that they kind of left hanging out there. The whole thing with the Reds was definitely something that needed to be addressed sooner or later. And not only did they go ahead and tie that up very nicely, but they also went ahead and cracked open a little bit of, actually quite a bit of backstory on Dr. Tio Morrow himself. At the same time, they had room to go ahead and introduce another character. There's a lot going on here.
Another thing that I like, that they mentioned the precursor to the Justice League.
Yeah.
Tornado was a part of that. And if you looked at the black and white picture that they put up, you saw a Lantern, you saw a Flash, you saw Dr. Fate in the background. Yep. I just like that was added on. That was really freaking cool, the way they took it back that way.
Yep. But that's not to say that this particular episode was perfect. Although I'm going to say that this part is going to be kind of hard for me to pull anything apart. guys, in this particular episode, was there anything that you noticed that you didn't like, or maybe if you had a choice to change a little, what would you change?
You know, you pointed out earlier on how Robin was sprung immediately. There was no build up there. Fuck, it's like, damn, you wanted to make it very, very, very obvious that this motherfucker went doing when Zatanna entered the fucking room. I mean, I wasn't too fond with that. I mean, look, I understand. Teenagers, yes, we've all done it. But damn, at least be subtle about it just a bit. I mean, fuck, at least he didn't get a bloody nose or flushed or any bullshit like that. But I just thought that they could have toned it down just a bit, because all fucking mission, or all the time that they were with Zatanna, he was just, yeah, sprung. Fuck, he just probably had his first, busting nut or whatever. I don't know, but yeah. Gray Mouse, was there anything that you didn't like or that you would change?
Yeah, I think they harped a lot on Wally West. As in, it was more of a, throughout the whole episode of this one, I mean, it's like, yeah, I understood it was kind of like the comedic hook, like when they needed because Robin was saying about Batman was looking for a red tornado logically, and we needed an unlogical thing, and then everybody turned to Wally. And you're just
his exact words were, "We need a truly dumb idea." And I know, because I wrote that down.
And they all turned to Wally, and I was like, "Oh, come on, guys," And Wally took it on board. He didn't take it as a and he's like, "I got it," And he went on, and he said, "Here we go. Let's go to the prison." But
remember, Wally is the one that saves the day. Or figures out how to save the day when the volcano was.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would expect that from him, because he's pretty smart. I mean, you got Robin's pretty smart too. I mean, those two together, they really, even out the team. But yeah, I thought it was kind of unfair. I mean, we've been harping, like you said, on Wally West for 13 episodes or whatever it's been. 9, whatever.
But as the Reverend pointed out, he didn't fucking trip and fall in this one either. So
no.
Yeah,
but
at least he wasn't. At least as when he said, "You're not the only spin doctor around here," and he starts spinning. At least he didn't trip over a fucking rock or anything like that when he was spinning.
Yeah.
He just
break his other arm while he was at it. I would have really, really went ballistic if that shit would happen.
But I did. That's one thing that it seems like Wally West is the fall guy for dumb.
Well, like I said before, I think he is the soul of the team, and the thing is, but when the whole thing about it though, when they went ahead, they brought that up, he knew exactly what they were talking about. But with this particular one, I do have to say the only things that really kind of bugged me about this particular episode was that there were, it was mostly just a repeat of a lot of the characters falling into like well-known tropes or habits of theirs, like the whole thing with them like joking on Wally and the whole dumb idea thing. Well, yeah, that makes sense in context to the episode, but the thing is that we've all kind of seen it. Happened a few times already in previous episodes. Superboy. White hot anger, just ready to rush in and smash things. Yeah, that we understand the situation behind that and everything. But even Aqualad had to sit there and remind him of, okay, there are things in your past that, kind of set the circumstances up in ways that we have to go ahead and understand this. It wasn't so much any one huge thing that like put me off in this episode at all. It was mostly just like really small annoying things. I don't think there was anything really huge in this episode that really kind of broke it for me. All right. That's the reason why I said that when it comes to like naming things I didn't like in this particular episode, it's going to be kind of hard. not only that, but this episode moved really, really fucking fast. They didn't dwell on anything at all. I think the longest thing that they dwelled on for any period of time was when they were having the telepathic conversation at the beginning of the very fucking beginning of the episode. Mm-hmm. Once that was done, it was like every 2 seconds they were moving on to something next. All right, and yeah, because of that, not too much time to pay attention to any one thing to go ahead and annoy me. All right, but that doesn't mean that the episode was just a flash in the pan and didn't go ahead and affect other things. What were the things? Our third talking point. What were the things that you might have noticed this time around that you watched it that acts as a reference or setup to a future episode or storyline in the future, guys?
Satara. Oh my God. You know, he's so clingy about his daughter. So I mean, look, when it got to the end of the episode and he was like, she's grounded for life, you really saw passion from this guy. You didn't really see that as a character from Sataro until that freaking moment. And that is going to carry on. It's going to carry on very subtle, but it's going to carry on nevertheless. So, and one thing I want to say before Grey Mouse says his things, they really tried to speed things up as far as trying to end the fucking world, didn't they? Red Volcano's plan was simple. He wanted a stage 3 eruption to try to end everything. And it took these young motherfuckers to find and thwart that. I mean, it's like, so they're saving the world now. They're going on missions on their own, and their missions are getting better and better as far as avoiding world catastrophe. That's another thing that I noticed about this episode. Grey Mouse, what about you? What did you notice about this episode that's gonna?
Well, the Reds, pretty much. I mean, that's going to continue to move forward. I think what the Reverend said earlier kind of falls true is the fact that this episode was more of a tie-up episode than a push in the story further. I mean, there were elements to push the story further, but also it took the time to explain certain things, you know. And for this one, is like, what was his name? Dr. Koromaro? What's his name? Teomaro. Yeah. That whole thing of Red Volcano ripping his arms off, that was very interesting. You know, it's kind of like, you know, that he was actually an android. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that was very interesting to me. So that sets up things for later as well.
I'd have to say the big setup points with this particular one is definitely the addition of Zatanna to the team, or at least introducing Zatanna to the team. Just by the chemistry that occurs between everybody alone, you know she's going to find a place within the team. Then you have, of course, the Reds and Dr. Teomaro. The cool thing about that, though, is that what they really kind of went ahead and did, though, was that now that they've went out of their way and they've gone through the whole issue with Red Volcano ripping apart the body of the fake Dr. Teomaro, and everybody knows that the real Dr. Teomaro is an ancient old man who's pretty much bedridden, everything else, then, you know, the only person that leaves on top of, like, the whole evil android robot game is Professor Ivo, who's in Bell Rep prison. Yeah. All right? And as we know, he acts as a huge influence as far as the goals of the light and everything like that. But yeah, with this particular one, those were pretty much the only two, I think, major setup points that they went ahead and they put forward in this particular episode. Besides that, if I were to cheat like I've done before, this is a big wrap up episode. It does wrap up and tie up a lot of loose ends, okay, or especially the open-ended story as it is with the Reds. I'd say the only other thing that it would probably hint toward later is that there's a future episode that kind of hints at a deeper purpose or another goal that Red Tornado has actually hanging around with the team there at Mount Justice. And this one kind of plants the seed for that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something that we're probably going to see, I don't know, I think around episode number 23 or something like that. Okay? But yeah, that's pretty much our 3 talking points, what we liked, what we didn't like, and what we noticed and sets up for the future. Let's go ahead and do what we normally do at the end of all of these on a scale of yay, nay, or meh, yay, nay, or meh. What are your thoughts on this particular episode, guys?
Yay. The introduction of Zatanna, the Reds. Well, yeah, it was the team that pretty much saved the day, but it was also the Reds saving the day, sacrificing themselves to basically drown Red Volcano in molten lava. Zatanna actually creating like multiple kid flashes. that was a cool trick. And she explained while that was happening that she used to use this trick to sneak out. Yeah. This hit on a lot of major points. It opened some doors, it closed some. There was some comedy in there that wasn't absolutely out of place. Kid Flash didn't fall on his fucking ass. Yeah, so this is definitely a yay for me. What about you, Gray Mouse?
Yeah, I give it a yay. It was a good episode. Like you said, it wrapped up some storyline and it opened up, further storyline with the Reds. I did kind of, because it's not the last that we're going to see of Volcano. That whole Terminator thing with the thing, I forgot to mention that. But other than that, yeah, it's an excellent episode. I really enjoyed it. It just shows how deep the light is in these plots, that they're somehow in the background, puppeteering things that happen, because a lot of the things that's happened thus far is not by accident. Everything had a meaning and a purpose behind it. So it's definitely a yay for me for this episode.
No surprise here. It's a yay. Yays all around for everybody. Like we've said in this particular one, there was a lot of a wrap up of a major storyline arc, what was going on with the Reds and Red Tornado. And also it did the job of going ahead and planting the seeds of, yes, Zatanna, she's going to find a space, or she's going to find herself a space within the team and everything else like that. We've got other little hints like Red Tornado looking for more to become more human. And there are other things that are out there that kind of hidden back and forth. But the one thing that it did do overall was that this episode moved really, really fast. All right. Even with the long string of exposition, which, normally that kills me whenever I sit down and I watch these things. Even the long string of exposition with the backstory of Dr. T.O. Morrow and, Red Tornado and his older siblings and everything else, that was really interesting, especially if you're somebody who's maybe you're not so knowledgeable with the comic books and you don't know the backgrounds of these characters, in which case it definitely helped. So yays all around for everybody here. But like we say at the end of every one of these reviews, folks, what did you think about the episode? If you watched our review all the way up until this point, thank you very much for doing so. You can tell us what you thought about the episode or our review ourselves by leaving a comment below. While you're at it, if you think we're worth it, go ahead and mash on that like button. And if you really like what we're doing here with our reviews or any of our other conversations, whether it be with video games or anything else, I hope you subscribe and turn on those notifications so you'll know exactly when we drop a new video. With that, all of our bullshit on Season 1, Episode 15 of Young Justice, entitled Humanity, ends right here. I'm the Reverend.
The Theme here.
And I'm Grey Mouse 1.
All forms of entertainment has the right to exist, even if you don't like it. Credits.